Welcome back to Velshi and Rule. $5 trillion. That's how much it'll cost to cover Beto O'Rourke's new four-pillar climate plan. This marking the first major policy rollout for the 2020 Democratic contenders campaign. O'Rourke says climate change is, quote, the greatest threat we face, which will test our country, our democracy, every single one of us. Adding this, quote, we have one last chance to unleash the ingenuity and political will of hundreds of millions of Americans to meet this moment before it's too late. So let's take through the framework of his plan. Part one, start cutting pollution on day one and taking executive action to lead on climate. Under this section, O'Rourke pledges to re-enter the Paris Agreement and lead the negotiations for an even more ambitious global plan for 2030 and years beyond. Part two, mobilize $5 trillion for climate change with investment in infrastructure, innovation, and our people and communities. This pillar calls for the funding of infrastructure needed to cut pollution across all sectors and supporting pensions and health care benefits that are owed to energy workers, even protecting those who worked in the coal industry for years to come. Part three, guarantee our net zero emissions ambition by 2050. This portion calls for accelerating action by partnering with cities, states, or tribal nations to accomplish this goal and advancing consumer choice and market competition in electricity and transportation. And lastly, part four, defending our communities that are preparing and fighting against extreme weather. Overall, this pillar calls for better preparations against natural disasters. O'Rourke wants to, quote, invest in the climate readiness and resilience of first responders, and even expand the federal crop insurance program to cover additional risks to support farmers and ranchers. It's a big plan, Allie.
That's a lot in it. Joining us now is the founder of Our Daily Planet and former assistant to the Secretary of Defense, Monica Medina. Monica, great to see you. What's your first take on this? $5 trillion, the big price tag. What, in your opinion, are the winning aspects to this plan?
I think it's super. It's a great first step. It definitely is much more specific than the Green New Deal, which was sort of aspirational. I know that price tag may make people nervous, but it's not as expensive from federal spending as the Trump tax cuts have been. So it's really in line with the kind of spending that we need to see to deal with the problem and at the scale of the problem.
Do you believe that people across the country, we know health care is their number one issue, but those who are suffering, who are not meeting their basic family needs, put climate as a top priority? Is it something that really could help push Beto over the line? Because when you talk to people across the country, we often hear health care, schools, better wages.
Well, I think it is because Americans are becoming more and more aware of climate change with each storm, with each weather disaster that we have to confront. Americans are becoming more and more aware of the problem that it is. And it is a way not only to deal with climate, but it's a way to solve some of our economic problems. It is a kitchen table issue. And I think that's why it comes up a lot in places like Iowa and New Hampshire. And the candidates are hearing about it much more than a lot of the topics that we're obsessed with here in D.C. People are, I think, hungry for answers, for ideas, for big solutions to the big problems. And I do believe that increasingly Americans are going to be turning to their candidates and looking for them to have answers on these big problems.
When you said it's much more specific than the Green New Deal, in terms of candidates, how are they meant to deal with this? Do you prefer the candidates come out with a plan as detailed as Beto O'Rourke's? Because until now, people have been saying, I agree with the Green New Deal, or I don't really think it's the right idea.
In spirit.
Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, for whom climate is central, is not a Green New Deal guy.
I understand, and I think what the difference here is that it puts some more definitive ideas forward about how to take the next steps. The Green New Deal was very aspirational. It sticks with some of the big goals like carbon neutrality by 2050 and cutting in half our carbon emissions by 2030. That's great. That sets a standard for us to all work towards. But then it gets a little more into the details about reversing the Paris Agreement, going back into the Paris Agreement and what kinds of things we would spend on. So it is a bit more specific. It also doesn't have some of the things in the Green New Deal that have made a lot of Democrats anxious about it. So I think it's a little bit harder to put some of those bumper stickers like socialist on this plan because it looks a lot more like like the kinds of things we already spend on. And what I can tell you is we are going to spend whether we want to, whether we plan on it or not, because if you look at the disasters that we've dealt with already and the fact that they'll be increasing with the infrastructure that's crumbling, these are things we need to do. We can't put them off any longer. And people's health care is impacted, their livelihoods are impacted. So if we take these positive steps, we can flip something that is a negative now, that we're just in reaction mode, and turn it into a positive.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.